So if you're debating on if you need to fast, if you're in a situation where it calls for a fast, or can you just pray about it, or can't you just speak life, or what spiritual tool, what spiritual weapons do you need to use? Based off of this, I would say you need to fast when you want clarity on something. What's poppin', people? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about when to fast and what to fast. But before we get into the meat of this video, I'm going to remind you guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below when you share this video with a friend, and now we can get started. So the first thing that I want to point out is that I'm talking about a spiritual fast, not the fasting that you do to lose weight or any other goals, I guess, but this is more of just a spiritual fast. And as Christians, we get the term fast and like the Daniel fast from the book of Daniel in the Bible, and the whole fast pretty much comes from Daniel chapter 10. You can read the whole chapter, and it kind of breaks down why he went into fasting and why he chose what he chose and what happened after he fasted. So if you read the story, basically Daniel gets a vision, and to get more understanding of the vision, he went into mourning, and he sacrificed meat, any flavored foods, alcohol, and he also chose not to groom himself, like bathe, basically maintenance of himself. He chose not to do those things. And that was because he was trying to get more clarity and understanding, so he eliminated his distractions. He knew that his distractions were things that he found to be pleasurable. So if you're wondering, okay, how is food a distraction? How does sacrificing food, draw you closer to the Lord? I don't know about you guys, but when people eat, it's usually somewhat of an experience, or there's usually a reason behind it, a deeper reason than sustaining yourself and just being healthy. A lot of people, when they eat, they say it's an experience because they're really enjoying the food, the savoriness, the flavors, like they're really just taking the time to enjoy. Also, when you're going out to eat, you're spending money on certain foods, you're eating out of convenience, you're eating just because it's there. Whereas if you choose to eliminate those things, your mind is constantly thinking of, I can't have this, and then it also reminds you of why you're also sacrificing it. So you're pretty much giving up anything of pleasure, because a lot of people don't really realize how much pleasure we have in food until you don't have it. So like the freeness that you have to go and grab like a fruit snack, or the freeness that you have to go to a drive-thru and grab some french fries or a pizza or a burger. When you're fasting, you're consciously aware that you cannot do these things because you have a goal in mind. So it helps you stay more focused, and your mind just can't wander and decide it wants to do things at random. He also fasted grooming and bathing, which lets me know that fasting and giving the Lord a sacrifice does not have to be just food. I personally feel like when you're doing a fast, you should feel led, and it should be a choice of yours. If you grew up like me, fasting when we first started wasn't a choice. We had to participate with our parents. And I know for me, I didn't see the benefit of it because it wasn't a personal choice of mine. I had no conviction about it. I didn't really fully understand why I was doing it. And to me, it was just basically I was dieting for 21 days. And it wasn't until I got older that I understood the purpose of fasting and why you do it. And the more I read my Bible for myself and study things for myself, I realize that when you're sacrificing something to the Lord and you're sacrificing something to draw closer to Him, it does not always have to be food. David chose things that were pleasurable to him. So obviously the foods, the alcohol, the meat, grooming himself, those were things of pleasure, and those are things that he chose for himself to sacrifice. Now, I am not saying that when your church calls for a corporate fast, or when your family calls for you to do a family fast, or a friend calls you to do a fast, to not participate because that's not your conviction, because you don't want to. I'm not saying that. I personally feel like if you choose to participate in a corporate fast with your church or your family, and you don't really have a need or desire personally, like you don't really know what you're fasting for, you can just fast for the other person. The Bible says that two are better than one. So imagine having 50 people on one accord of just saying, hey, we're believing for this, we're believing for financial breakthrough for everybody. Like, you can still participate even if it's not something that's directly personal to you. So I'm not saying not to participate just because you don't have that conviction or God didn't tell you to for your personal situation. There's nothing wrong with choosing to sacrifice on someone else's behalf. There's nothing wrong with choosing to sacrifice to help someone else or to, encourage somebody else. You guys know how you go to start your gym memberships and you do those diets. You want a partner to hold you accountable and do it with you. It's the same thing with fasting. You may not necessarily have a certain goal that your friend has in losing weight or trying to maintain certain things, but it's just more comforting and more encouraging to have somebody that you know is with you and you can call on and you can have for encouragement because you're going through the same things. Make sense? So the reason I say all of this is because I personally don't believe that when you fast for the Lord, it has to be food. I personally feel like it should be something that's pleasurable to you, that's something that's going to be hard for you to give up because you enjoy it so much. And the reason I think this way is because I think of those people who already kind of have the lifestyle of a Daniel's fast, who already don't eat dairy and don't eat meat and don't eat processed foods and, don't drink alcohol, and they pretty much live a very healthy, clean lifestyle. I wonder sometimes, well, if that's already their lifestyle, how is doing the Daniel fast a sacrifice to the Lord if that's already a lifestyle? All they're adding, if they didn't do it before, is just the prayer part and getting in his presence, which they should be doing anyways. So then I was just like, not saying anything against the Daniel fast because I don't eat like that. I'm not a vegan, I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not a pescatarian. Like, I eat how I want to eat. And so when I'm doing the Daniel fast, I'm sacrificing things that I normally wouldn't sacrifice. Like, I'm sacrificing candy and sugars and drinks and sodas and juices and all these different things. I'm sacrificing it because it's out of the normal routine for me. I can't just go up to a drive-thru and order a burger and some fries or some wings. Like, I have to consciously be aware of what I'm doing because I am fasting. Because when you think about David's story and reading it, and I was reading it thoroughly last night, he never says this is a step-by-step to properly fast and to get the Lord's attention. He literally just said what he did to get the Lord's attention. What he did once he wanted clarity and vision and more direction and understanding. He said what he did. He chose to give up foods and he chose to not bathe. That was his choice for his personal life based off of what would be a sacrifice to him. All right, so now we're getting into the points here. The very first point I want to make is you need to have a purpose for your fast. If it's a personal fast, like I mentioned before, if it's a corporate one, you're doing it on behalf of someone else, that's still a purpose. You're not being selfish, you're being selfless and just participating to help the body at large. But if you decide to go on a fast or you feel like you need to go on a fast, ask yourself why. Because I want you guys to pay attention. I want you to go read the chapter on your own. It's Daniel chapter 10. Just read the whole chapter. He went into fasting once he received a vision that he didn't fully understand. And the way you know he didn't fully understand it is because if you read further down, I believe it's verse 12 or 11. All right, so 12 through 14, it says, "Relax, Daniel," he continued, "don't be afraid. From the moment you decided to humble yourself to receive understanding, your prayer was heard, and I set out to come to you. But I was waylaid by the angel prince of the kingdom of Persia and was delayed for a good 3 weeks." So basically what that means, if you don't know what waylaid means, it basically means he was held back. Something was stopping him. It was basically spiritual warfare was stopping him from coming to Daniel when he started his fast. But the point of me pointing that out is saying he went in with a purpose. He went in wanting clarity and understanding because it tells us here. It literally says, from the moment you decided to humble yourself to receive understanding. So if you're debating on if you need to fast, if you're in a situation where it calls for a fast, or can you just pray about it, or, can't you just speak life, or, what spiritual tool, what spiritual weapons do you need to use? Based off of this, I would say you need to fast when you want clarity on something. And I feel like that's kind of what fasting really is, because you are eliminating distractions and you are hard pressed and you're basically dead set on getting an answer and just receiving God's presence and his words and his, understanding and his peace. I can see how fasting will get you that answer a lot faster and you'll have a little bit more clarity afterwards, because you are getting rid of distractions. You're getting rid of what your mind would normally be on. And once you know what you're going in for, it's going to be easier to stick to your fast as long as you know your why is strong enough. It'll be easier to stick to your fast because you're not going in just to go in. You're not doing it just to doing it. You're doing it with a purpose. You're doing it with an end goal. You're doing it with intention. And when you do that, you are more inclined to continue and keep pressing through no matter how weak you're feeling, no matter how tempted you are to just do whatever it is you sacrifice. You're going to continue doing it because you know your end goal. So like, think about this. When you're in school or you're in college and you know your end goal is to get this degree because you want to become a doctor or a lawyer or a judge one day. Even when you're tired, even when you're weak, even when you want to give up, you don't. Well, most people don't, because one, they put money and time into this, and two, they know what they have to do to get what they want, and so they do it. They stick it out. They push through. Same thing with the fast. You just have to have a purpose before you start your fast. Second thing, what are you fasting? Does it have to be food? I am going to say no, it does not have to be food. I think for a lot of people it's food, because for a lot of people food is a distraction for the reasons I said before. You just kind of, grab whatever's closest to you. Your mind's on the next meal. You want to go out. Like, food is a distraction for a lot of people. So food is kind of like the generic, I would say personally, the generic thing to get rid of because it's more thought behind it. But I personally don't feel like it has to be food, because he did food and bathing and grooming himself. So that was obviously a sacrifice for him, because maybe he really liked to be clean and he likes to be dirty. So let's say, you're really into watching TV, you're listening to this certain artist or worldly music, or going out or shopping a lot. Anything that basically causes you to be distracted from spending time in God's presence, causes you to be confused, causes you to delay the time that you're spending in his presence. Because a lot of us get in his presence, but we put a time frame on it because we want to get to watch that TV show. We want to listen to this music. We have all these different thoughts going on in our head about what we want to do. So we either don't get in his presence at all, or when we are in his presence, we don't stay, or we put a cap on it because we want to do what we want to do. Whatever that thing is for you, that's more than likely what you need to sacrifice, because that's what's causing you to be distracted. Like I said before, if you're a vegan, sacrificing certain foods isn't really going to be effective for you, because that's already a lifestyle choice. You've already determined that you're not going to eat these certain things. So doing this fast isn't going to be effective for you because it's a lifestyle. Whereas you could be vegan, but you also love being on social media. You love watching TV. You love going to the movies. You have a shopping problem. Then those are the things that you would look at in your life to now sacrifice, because you're getting rid of distractions and you're getting rid of your normal routine in order to draw closer and just to really focus. So, does it have to be food? I'm going to say no. You guys can disagree. That's perfectly fine. But I'm going to say it doesn't have to be just food. It could be like Daniel, food and something else, because my church just got off a fast, and ours was social media and the Daniel's fast. So it really just depends on what you choose to do. But in terms of spiritual fasting, from what I'm understanding and what I'm reading, it's basically a choice. It's getting rid of things that are pleasurable to you, things that are a distraction to you personally. Third thing, when to fast and for how long. This, I would say, is completely up to you and God. He knows you better than you know yourself, so he'll be able to tell you if it needs to be 21 days or if it needs to be 30 days. Again, Daniel did not give a play-by-play. He did not say, this is what you need to do to get this reaction, to get this result. He didn't do that. He literally did what he wanted. Like, he didn't ask a prophet. He didn't ask the Lord how long he should do it. This was his personal choice. Why he chose 21 days, I don't know. But that was his choice. So when it comes to your fast can be for 4 days. Your fast can be for 7. Your fast can be for 60. It depends on you. Are you trying to break a habit? Are you trying to grow closer? Have you been so far away from God that you just feel like you need to get rid of, eliminate all distractions, and you need to make it more of a habit than just a one-time thing? That will determine how long your fast needs to be, because some people can do a fast just for 3 days straight and they're good because they know what they went in for, they know what they're sacrificing, they know what their why is, and they know based off of who they are as a person and prayerfully they talk to the Lord, they know how long they need to do it in order for their fast to be effective. And again, I'm not saying to do not participate in corporate fast, your church or your family. Again, I'm not saying that. Well, hopefully by the time you get to this point, you've watched the beginning. But I'm not saying that, oh, if the church says 21 days, I don't feel like I need to do 21 days, then no. If the church says do 21 days, again, you're doing it on behalf of somebody else. You're doing it as a corporate body. You're a family, whether it be your physical family, your spiritual family, your church family, what have you. You're doing it on behalf of somebody else. You're doing it to believe with someone else. Nothing's wrong with that, you guys. All right, and I think this point out of the entire video is probably the most important point when it comes to fasting. And I personally just came to this revelation about, I think, the beginning of the year. When you are fasting for something, you need to eliminate the influences that are causing you to be confused or causing you to even go to God to want clarity or direction or vision or anything like that. You need to eliminate the distractions. So what do I mean by that? Let's take it like this. I'm going to use relationships because that's pretty much what a lot of people in the world go through, a lot of people struggle with. Let's say you want to know if the person that you are currently with is the person that you're supposed to be with. If this is the God-ordained like marriage that he has set for you. And you're not sure because certain things aren't going the way you thought it was, certain things are going wrong, like you just don't know. Yes, fast, but I personally feel it won't be that effective because you are still in the situation. I'm not saying to break up with the person, or I'm not saying to, leave them high and dry, whatever. But what I am saying is to be mindful that it's going to be very hard to hear from the Lord when you have your emotions attached to a situation already, because you already have a bias. You already have, history. You already have thoughts playing in your head of how this person is and what their response would be, and how it's gone in the past. You already have these distractions because you're currently in it. So I would suggest, let's say you're in that situation, like you're not married. Let's just take that you're not married. What I would do, I would say go away for like a weekend. Doesn't have to be 21 days. That's pretty excessive. That's pretty excessive when you're with someone, especially because you probably don't want to explain to them what you are doing exactly, because you're like letting them know I'm questioning if I'm supposed to be with you. So, and another point, when you're fasting, keep it between you and the Lord if he doesn't lead you to tell somebody. That's just another point that is very important. But if you are in a situation where you really just don't know, you would have to eliminate all distractions. You would have to eliminate conversation. You can't see them on social media. Don't talk to them. Don't talk about them. Like, you really just need to clear your mind, whether that be going to like your parents' house or just going like an hour away, staying at a hotel for like 3 days or 4 days or what have you. Just to clear your mind and eliminate all the distractions. Because imagine you're fasting to determine if you should be with a person while you're still going on dates with this person, while you're still probably having arguments with this person. It's going to be very hard to effectively hear the Lord because your emotions are more than likely going to take over and you're going to think it's Jesus. So you're going to be like, well, he did this and she did this and I don't believe anyone that loves me would do that, so I'm going to leave them. You're going to think that while you're fasting, that's the confirmation just because of how they're acting, when we all know God looks at the heart way more than the actions. So you could potentially ruin something or potentially stay in something because your emotions are involved, because you're already attached. So when you are fasting, especially for something as important as that, you need to get away from it all. Like, I know some people who are married, it's like, okay, well, how do I do that? I'm married, I have kids. Ask somebody. Ask, can you watch the kids or leave them with the husband or leave them with the boyfriend, what have you, the baby daddy, and be like, hey, I'm going away for like 3 days. I just need to get my head straight. I'm going away with the girls. Whatever you gotta say, leave. Get in a clear space and just focus on you and the Lord. That could be a time where you're like, I'm not gonna be on social media because I'll be tempted to look. I'm not gonna even use my phone because I'll be tempted to text. That is when you're going to determine what you really need to fast, because you're going to know what your weaknesses are based off the situation that you're in. Same thing with jobs, same thing with school. Like, if you are determining, okay, Lord, should I go to this school or should I go to that school? And you're asking the Lord, but you have your friends saying, oh, come here with me so we can, room together and we can have that cute college experience. Then you have your parents in your ear, oh, come here because it's my alma mater, I can get you in easy, like no problem. You have all these different voices in your head pulling you and you don't know which way to go, but you need to get away from all that. And so let's say you can't get away. Eliminate the conversation. Don't entertain it when it comes up because it's just going to brew up certain emotions. You need to keep your mind on the Lord and talk to Him solely and by yourself and just get that clarity for yourself. And I can say this because I've done it. I have fasted food. I fasted social media. I did a fast for I think 90 days of just no bread because that's like a weakness for me. I love bread. I've done no TV. And I did no TV for 21 days. I did a 21-day Daniel fast in the middle of the year on my own, just for my own personal growth, for things I was believing for. And I realized in those moments when I was doing it because I chose to do it, the fast was more effective. I got more clarity, I got more vision, I got more direction, I got more peace because I went in with the purpose. I sacrificed things based off of the situation I was going through, and I chose a time based off of me personally. So certain things, for me with bread, I know that after 21 days and I get back in the habit of eating bread, I'm going to keep eating bread. That's just me. So the bread needed to be 90 days so I can break that habit a little bit and just really just focus, because I could if I cheat, I'm not one of those people who can do cheat days and cheat meals, because as soon as I taste it, I'm gonna want more and more and more and I'm gonna go back. I'm not that kind of person that can cheat on anything at all, because I'm just gonna be tempted to keep going and I'll just basically keep cheating. Not effective. So I know that about myself, and I know what I'm praying for when I'm going into my fast. So then again, I will know what kind of time frame I need in order to be effective and really sacrifice. That makes sense. Alright, so I really hope that was helpful. I hope someone got clarity on fasting. I've been asked about fasting I think since the year started, because people that know me know that my church does a fast at the beginning of the year. Every single year, never fails. So I've been getting a lot of questions asking about it, and so I just figured I'd make a video for you guys. Hopefully it brought some clarity. Hopefully it brought some peace and answered some questions. If it didn't, feel free to leave your questions in the comments. I will gladly respond. You can also DM me on Instagram. I respond to people all the time on there. And again, I hope it just brought a lot of clarity and answered a lot of questions for you guys, and hopefully it helped you decide if you're in a season where you need to fast. Because even though I just got out of a fast, I want to say, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I feel like I need to fast, but it doesn't need to be food. I think one year, I fasted about 6 months altogether out of the year. Not just food. It was like I said, the TV, I did just simply the bread and the juices. It's very personal, and you're gonna know what to do based off of your needs and based off of who you are as a person. And I don't want this video to be too long, but I feel like I did kind of make that kind of long. But you guys get me once a week, so it's fine. Once again, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below when you share this video with a friend. Don't forget to follow me on all my social platforms. I have Pinterest, TikTok, and Instagram. Probably gonna be making a Twitter soon. If you guys think I should do that, let me know. Because sometimes I feel like I say some really good gems, but who knows. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.